Did you know the total casualties for World War II were between 50 and 70 million people? 80% of those came from only 4 countries: Russia, China, Germany, and Poland. Over 50% of the casualties were civilians, with majority of those being women and children. This is said by BusinessInsider.com. That means pretty bad, right? The total casualties for World War I was about 40 million people. That is a significant loss of life. Now, you might think that wars are all bad, and that is usually true, but there are some good outcomes. Wars can lead to great inventions and might have been necessary. Wars can cause poverty, but they can also reduce poverty. That is what I'll be talking to you about today. Not all wars are all bad. First, great inventions. There have been many great inventions that have been made for war and are being used today for good things. For example, the invention of the jet engine. The jet engine was first invented by the Nazis during World War II in the early 1940s. It was first put in the Me-262 Swallow jet fighter. It was the first jet fighter ever. It was first made to defend Germany from Allied bombs which were continuously bombing German cities. Now, it only takes 6 hours to go from New York to London. Back then, it used to take almost a day to get from New York to London by propeller engine. The second invention, GPS. GPS stands for Global Positioning System and was invented by the US in 1973. It was first invented for keeping soldiers safe on the battlefield, but also for identifying targets, improving mapping, tracking plane trajectories, and more. This is said by PocketLint.com. It was allowed for civilian use in the 1980s. Now, we use it to find out where we're going and how to get there, not for tracking military targets. Now, the second thing, poverty. Wars can cause a lot of poverty and suffering, as seen in World War II when German war rations were getting dangerously low. But wars can also reduce poverty at the same time. For example, during the Great Depression, which started in 1929 and ended in the late 1930s, the unemployment rate in the US was about 25%. That is almost 1/4 of the population. But then, when World War II came around, many unemployed Americans were able to find jobs as factory workers and farmers to help the war effort. As a result, the unemployment rate dropped down to around 10%. Also, almost 5 million US women got jobs during World War II. The 25 to 10%, this was said by IPTV.org. 5 million US women got jobs during World War II. That was said by KhanAcademy.org. Women are very respected, so this was a huge achievement. Third, necessary wars. Some wars were just necessary for the world. For example, World War II solved problems called Nazi Germany and militaristic Japan, and created alliances with the nations we crushed. The Revolutionary War solved the problems of taxation without representation and created the USA. The Civil War solved the problem of slavery. This is what nytimes.com said. This is why I believe not all wars are all bad. Although some wars can cause a lot of harm, sometimes they don't. Wars can lead to great inventions and can reduce poverty. Sometimes they might have just been necessary for the world to make some wrong things right. Therefore, that is why I believe not all wars are all bad.